All right, so we've talked about phase lock loops and how they work with the divider. So if you have we had a 10 megahertz clock on the input, and we had a divide by 100. We had a 1 gigahertz output, so that divide by 100 got you the 10 megahertz. Then you compared the two 10 megahertz, right? And I talked about them counting up and counting down. Well, here's an implementation of one. One counts up, one counts down, and they do these current sources that charge a capacitor. So you charge it up, you charge it down, you charge it up, you charge it down, and it evens out. And then you want to filter that. You want to have some type of low pass filter on your loop here, so it doesn't go crazy. And so you balance it all out, and that's how the phase lock loop works now. Okay, so we had divide by 100 here, and you can divide by any integer. All right. And what if you wanted to divide by 1.75? How would you do that? So we're going to talk about how you divide by fractions and how they are non-integer fractions. And this is called a fractional N divider, okay? And so that's what this video is about. All right, there are some good papers if you want to read them. Here's a fractional N frequency synthesis. Here's the basics of dual fractional N synthesizers, phase lock loop. And these things are all deep in the bandwidth because they need to settle, and they can get, the block diagrams can get all crazy to do real fancy stuff. But we're going to talk about the most simplistic one, okay? So let me draw it out. Okay, so remember we had a loop, right? And the loop had the divide by n right here, okay? And then it came back around, and then you compared these two things. And so we want to make this a fractional divider. So how does a divider work? Well, the simple way to do a divider is to have a something like a 7493, or I think that's the right number, 7493, 4-bit counter, and you can have an input, and then this one's a divide by 2, this one's a divide by 4, this one's a divide by 8, right? So So you can get integer multiples really easy. But what if you wanted to divide by 7? Okay. Well, then you use a counter. I don't remember the part number, but a lot of times there's a 4-bit counter, and then there's a 4-bit preset, okay? And you can set the preset to, let's say, 1110. So you set it to 7, okay? So the thing will count to 7 if it gets reset, okay? So there'll be a reset pin, and then there's an output, so you can have this thing count, and then when it finally, what you do is you turn this thing on, and there's like a preset, so you preset it, and you clock in the 7, and then you start down counting, and it goes down, 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 until you finally overflow, and then when you overflow, you bring that around to the reset, and the thing starts over again. So you can always count from 7, okay? So that's the way integers work, is you use a preset down counter, all right? But we want something like 7.2. How do you do that? All right, so let's talk about this concept of counting. Okay, let's talk about the input clock and the output clock, okay? It's running along, and every 5th pulse, so every rising, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rising edges. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5th rising edge, our down counter outputs a pulse. So every 5 clocks, we output a pulse, okay? And so we're dividing by 5. What if the next time, okay, we divide by 5 again? Okay, let's say we do 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, okay? And then we do an extra one, we do 6. We do 6 clocks, okay? And so we have, we divide by 5 3 times, and we divide by 6 1 time, all right? and then we do it again. So this is the cycle. 5, 5, 5, 6. 5, 5, 5, 6. So we're dividing by 5, and once in a while, every fourth time, we divide by 6. So our divisions can be a little bit more than 5, okay? So when we do this, we get 4 output pulses, okay? But how many input pulses did it take to get 4 output pulses? It took 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6. That's the number at the top, okay? And the number on the bottom was, we did it 1, 2, 3, we did it 4 times. We did it 4 times, okay? So this is our new fraction, okay? It's 21 divided by 4, okay? 21 over 4. Get out a calculator. Okay, divide by 4, 2 1/4 equals 5.25. Okay, so we have created a way to divide by 5.25 by counting 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, 5, 5, 6. Okay, so this is an n fractional divider. Every once in a while we do an extra one, all right? And you can choose different numbers, okay? So let's talk about choosing different numbers. In our example, we did several 5s and then we did several 6s. We did 3 and 1. But let's say the number of 5s we'll call the variable a, and the number of 6s we're going to call the variable b, okay? Okay, so a is 5, b is 6. So a is the number of 5, so a equals 3, and b was the number of 6s, so b equals 1. So, okay? So when we did the math, we said, okay, the total number of pulses we had were a times 5 plus b times 6, okay, which was 15 plus 6, okay? And then the number of outputs we had was actually a plus b, okay, 4, right? So 21 over 4. But we can expand this, okay? We can say a is the number of n's, and b is the number of n plus 1s, okay? So now we get to choose a's, b's, and n's, all right? And then our formula become a times n plus b times n plus 1 divided by a plus b. Okay, so here's a formula for some fraction of a divider, some integer, n is integer fractional divider. We get to choose a, we get to choose b, and we get to choose n. All right, let's think about this particular diagram though. Every once in a while we do 5s, every once in a while we do a 6. Well, your frequency is going to be 5, 6, 5, 6. Whatever the division by 5s and whatever the division by 6s through the phase lock loop, it's going to be kind of a two-tone thing, right? It'd be one frequency for a while, then it'll be another frequency for a while, and it'll shift back and forth. And that's not a good thing, okay? So we need to imagine this over some length of time. We need to integrate this over some length of time. And that is why this section here is very, very critical. You need to have some filter. This is an integration filter, right? And this has two different, it has one high frequency gain and one low frequency gain, drop off and stuff. So it actually is a 2-pole filter. Or at least a 2-step filter. And so at low frequencies, it has the C. At higher frequencies, it has this R built into it. So it's really important that you can see here we've got maybe 2 frequencies, this frequency and that frequency. We need to average them so that they're at a particular point. Now you can imagine this will generate a particular frequency we're interested in, especially over time. Okay, but remember the VCO is analog. It is an analog voltage thing. So these are digital, but this is an analog voltage. So the resolution on this capacitor, the voltage on this capacitor can be very, very accurate. So as long as we integrate over long enough time, you won't see a lot of jitter on the output. Now, the capture rate of the loop might be slow, right? but it'll average it out. It might have a little bit of wobble in it, but you adjust these to have the smallest amount possible, and that reduces your phase noise in your system. All right. Now there are other systems that are much, much fancier than this one. They use multiple feedbacks. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. Let me see if I can show you one. I don't know. Here's like a weird thing, right? Here's the phase lock loop. There's a sigma in here, and then there's all this other stuff that goes in behind it, and it gets really, really complicated. So there are really fancy systems that really reduce the phase lock, the phase noise of the VCO and stuff. And in an instrument like the Agilent that I've been working on, it has a really, really fancy patented system to do the division. So anyway, there you go.